So I'm in a town called Courtland, Alabama, and you've probably seen it on the short by now. But I talked to the lady at the antique store here. By the way, they're open from 10 to 2. And really nice lady. Look up there, A.F. Redmond, 1906. That is so neat. This is just a beautiful little town, but it's dying. The school is shut down. There's not another one. The highway went around it, and not the school, but the town. The highway went around it. The paper mill closed. Nobody comes here. I spoke to the owner's sister of the antique store, a very nice lady named Anne, and she was telling me about things. Apparently the antique store is the last remaining store open here. Alright, so the town of Cortland. Federal lands in this area were first sold in 1818 and quickly purchased by settlers and speculators, a group of investors calling themselves the Courtland Land Company, and consisting of William H. Whitaker, James M. Camp, William F. Brodnix, John M. Tifford, Benjamin Thomas, and Bernard McKiernan, acquired the future town site and had it laid off in a gridiron street pattern containing 300 lots. These were immediately put up for sale in hopes that Cortland would become the county seat. The present square was set aside for a courthouse. Alabama's territorial legislature incorporated Cortland on December 13th, 1819. Side 2. Major Lewis Dillahunty and his wife Lucinda reputedly settled at Cortland in 1816. Dillahunty, a surveyor, had fought with Andrew Jackson at New Orleans. Soon afterward came wealthy planters with their families and slaves from Virginia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Georgia. They were joined by merchants, artisans, lawyers, doctors, preachers, and innkeepers as Cortland became the trade center for the surrounding farms and plantations. A newspaper, the Cortland Herald, was established in the 1820s. For most of its history, Cortland's population is numbered between 400 and 700 people. So I've talked about this before. These towns that the highway goes around, and it kills the town because, you know, people are traveling, and so often you have to get off the highway to see these towns, and if they're a little far off the road, or if there's not something to attract people to leave the highway to go see the towns, the town just dries up. And that's kind of what's happening here. Their biggest industry, the paper mill, she was telling me, closed down, and there's just no jobs. No, one store left open. There's some beautiful old houses here, many of them in a state of disrepair, and the school is shut down. We pass it on the way in. It's a dying town. So I am shooting this obviously because it's a neat little old town, but also just so people will know about it. Cortland's early architecture. During the early 1800s, an assortment of wooden, brick, and log business structures surrounded the town square. Most of the old buildings on the square today, north and east sides, date from the late 1800s and early 1900s. The fronts of some of them feature characteristic Victorian detailing. At the northeast corner of the square are 4 19th century stone mounting blocks placed for the convenience of horseback riders. The tall red cedars seen throughout the Courtland and along the streets radiating from the square have been a feature of the landscape since early days. Structures within the Courtland Historic District represent over 150 years of changing tastes in building design. Although only a few of Courtland's earliest buildings survive, the federal-style architecture of the oldest houses suggests the community's strong original links with Virginia and other states of the Upper South. Typical early residences of frame and brick feature a gable roof with tall chimneys at each end. Sometimes weatherboarding conceals log walls underneath. Many buildings date from the 1850s through the 1930s, reflect Italianate, Victorian and neoclassical architecture influences. There are also early 20th century bungalows, some built of native sandstone. Cortland still counts about 20 buildings predating the Civil War. Wow. I'm going to walk over here to this train depot and get a look at it real quick. We have to get back on the road because we're actually on our way somewhere, but I just really wanted to shoot this. They used to have parades here. They used to have all these functions. I mean, this used to be a thriving place. Looks like the train still comes through. Early roads. Tennessee Street along the north side of the square was originally part of Gaines Trace, a horse path laid out in 1807 under the direction of Captain Edmund Pendleton Gaines of the U.S. Army. From Milton's Bluff on the Tennessee River, the trace ran westward to Cotton Gin Port on the Tombigbee in present-day Mississippi. Another important early thoroughfare was the Byler Road 1819, which ran southward through Courtland and linked the Tennessee Valley to Tuscaloosa and Lower Alabama. Seeking a means to ship cotton and other goods around the treacherous Muscle Shoals of the Tennessee River area, planters and merchants met at Courtland in 1831 to consider a rail line on January 13th, 1832. The 50-mile-long Tuscumbia, Courtland, and Decatur Railroad was chartered. Early trains were usually horse-drawn, although an English-made steam locomotive was acquired in 1834, absorbed by the Memphis and Charleston line after 1850. The railway was largely destroyed during the Civil War. The rebuilt railroad became part of the Southern system in 1898. Oh, look, Stacey got shit. Look, Stacey, hey, you want to come look at this train depot?
Over there.
You just kind of have to like climb down through this ditch.
Oh.
North.
Town?
Where's north?
I don't know.
Is that a mounting block over there? On that corner over there?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I think we found it. I'll go back to the depot in just a second, but I do want to shoot this stone.
Jack Shackelford was from here.
Who's that?
He survived the Goliad massacre. So there's a whole troop. There's a marker down there, but like there was a troop of guys from here that helped Texas fight for independence.
Ooh.
And they surrendered thinking they would get ransomed, but instead they were massacred.
Oh.
And some of them managed to escape, and I think he managed to escape. And there's a little dot next to the people on the roster who lived.
Ooh. So the horse mounting block. Yes, look at this. There's one over there too.
Neat.
So this is cool.
Some people just need a little boost, but others need a higher one.
So neat. So you would step up here, up onto the horse. I won't step up.
I would step like this though.
Right.
You be the horse. So then the saddle's here, and you throw your right
I
leg
see.
over.
Oh, good eye, sweetheart. I was thinking it was stairs you go. Like it was
But I mean, the
Clydesdale
horse
or
is
something.
here,
Right.
So the horse isn't there, because that would be his head or his backside. You
Yeah.
get on side.
Right, yes.
You had a horse.
It was a Shetland pony. He was
Mine
like
had a
this.
childhood pony.
And there's another mounting block over there. It's a little bit different, but you can see it. It's like a store down there. Maybe there's 2 stores open, but
So the town of Cortland has never had more than like 800 people. It's always been a little town.
always has.
So the population is consistent.
Yeah, they just have no industry and it's dying like the economy is
Because
shot.
the paper mill closed.
Paper mill closed and the highway went around the town. And without something in the town to attract people off the highway.
But it's adorable. Like, if they had a little sign that said historic district, they could get a bigger sign.
Yeah. People need to come here and check this out.
Yeah, it's cute. You could get married here in that gazebo, I bet you.
You could. I'm gonna run down and look at this depot real quick.
Is it still a depot?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the train used to come through here. And I
Right.
guess it doesn't anymore.
The railroad was destroyed during the Civil War. It was rebuilt and has been part of a more modern line.
There's a historic house here that has bullet holes in it still.
Ooh. Okay, I know I got some viewers that like to travel, so y'all need to come check this
So
out.
there's no train that ever comes on here?
There's a train that comes through because the top of the tracks are shiny.
Well, I don't want to get stuck.
I don't think you're gonna get stuck in.
This is not advisable what we're doing right now.
Stacey the ultra cautious. So Rudy McCarley. So it's a community center now. That's good. So it's being used for something. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Yeah. So that's the old train depot. I don't know what year it was built. That's the public library. And there's neighborhoods all around it, American Legion Post. But we're gonna get back across the tracks before a train does come and stop here and trap us or something. Who knows? There's not really a lot to see on this side. The neat stuff is over there. Before being officially denied political participation by the state constitution of 1901, Cortland's African American community produced the most successful local Republican Party organization in North Alabama. On occasion uniting with area whites to create a biracial government. H.H. Stewart, a graduate of Williams College, Massachusetts, was an outstanding educational and political leader of the Cortland black community during this period. In the early 20th century, many Cortland area African Americans migrated to the North and Upper Midwest to seek greater economic and social opportunity. African Americans played a very significant role in the early history of Cortland. Most came as slaves from the older southern states to help clear the land, to plant crops of cotton and corn, and to serve as household domestics. President Thomas Jefferson's great-grandson, William S. Bankhead, brought his personal servant and valet, Jupiter, from Monticello when he settled near Cortland in the 1840s. Skilled slave craftsmen also assisted in constructing many of Cortland buildings before the Civil War. After emancipation, most African Americans earned their livelihood as tenants and small farmers.
See, look, it's such a sleepy town. You could roll around downtown in your golf cart.
Yeah.
This is where Taylor Swift should live. This is where people should live.
This is where people should
Like,
live.
nobody would bother you here. It's just like...
This is a
chill.
really peaceful town. All it needs is some stores, y'all, and some signs out by the freeway to get people to your store. So if you're looking to start a business, if you're looking for an opportunity and you're a business owner, Cortland's your place.
So this is it, the Red Rovers. The Red Rovers, volunteer military company organized at Courtland, 1835 to aid Texas in the struggle for independence. Commanded by Dr. Jack Shackelford, local physician. Company derived its name from the color of homespun uniforms made by citizens of Courtland. In first battle, Rovers were assigned to Regiment Cutoff, captured at Colita, March 20, 1836. Surrendered on promise of return to U.S. On March 27th, the company and others, 365 men, were executed at Goliad by order of General Santa Anna. Shackelford and seven other Rovers were spared. He later escaped and returned to Courtland. Goliad incident plus Alamo rallied U.S. support and guaranteed freedom for Texas. Incident is interesting because it's really was a massacre, but incident's nice. So this is the roster, and then everyone who survived for whatever reason, they were escaped at execution, on patrol, or on leave when the unit was captured is notated. See, but most of them were killed.
Wow. So Cortland has a significant historical value. It's amazing. I mean, most places do. Like that's pretty neat.
There's another marker across the street there.
Let's have a look.
In front of the police station. The cops don't work on Saturday.
Cotton Kingdom. A combination of rich soil, mild climate, and ready access to market via river and later railroad made Courtland an early center to cotton production, from surrounding plantations with colorful names like Bonnie Doon, Oak Grove, Caledonia, Rocky Mill, Albemarle, Hard Bargain, Pond Spring, Dixie, Summerwood, Egypt, Flower Hill, and Ingleside. Thousands of bales were annually shipped to Memphis and New Orleans during the 19th and early 20th centuries. Though production methods have changed, cotton is still an important part of the local economy. The value of cotton to the economy of Lawrence County exceeded $81 million in 1992.
In the first part.
Oh, in the first part, yeah, to switch these around too. A cotton kingdom. Several cotton gins once operated in and around Courtland. The present Cervico gin, a mile north of town, was formed in 1973 through the merger of two older gins once located near the town square, Service Gin and Company Gin. One of the largest gins in the southeast, Cervico can produce 35 bales of cotton per hour. One bale weighs 500 pounds. The gin serves farmers from 3 states. Cotton growers from throughout the world, including China, Russia, Australia, India, and Africa, have toured in its modern facilities. And one day I'll learn to read.
But that Cervico gin is still open, apparently.
Oh, that's good. So we're at another place in Courtland. This is the McMahon house, and it's got a pretty interesting history. Let me show you a little bit. We're behind it. That's the house. Looks like they have a well or something, but McMahon house. Built about 1830 for merchant Joseph Trotter, this house was purchased in 1838 by John J. McMahon, a Virginia-born cotton factor who divided his time between Courtland and New Orleans. The house remained the home of McMahon's descendants for nearly 150 years. John McMahon's wife, Harriet, was the daughter of Dr. Jack Shackelford, who in 1836 organized a military company, the Courtland Red Rovers, to fight for Texas independence. Donated by the family to the Alabama Historical Commission in 1987, the house was privately restored under a protective covenant. The McMahon house is a notable example of the federal period architecture brought to this area by early settlers from the Atlantic seaboard. So this is the back of the house. And here's the front of the house. There are bullet holes around the front door, which you probably cannot see from here. But fascinating architecture, Courtland, Alabama.